So we want to talk about Marvin Bagley. Benched again tonight. Really haven't heard much about him other than the Chicago Bulls are interested. I've been looking on a few Bulls forums. A lot of Bulls fans seem to be excited about the potential of adding a guy like Marvin Bagley. Now, we saw them just give up a similar type player in Markkanen, who is kind of a stretch four, had a lot of injury problems.
Yep.
So what are you thinking about this? Is this possible? Is there anything that could happen in this deal? And the one guy that I've heard mentioned in a potential deal would be Coby White. And I think that's because the Bulls have so many guards now as well. But the Kings also have a lot of guards. So is there a guy on the team that you would target instead of Coby if you were the Kings? Or would you be happy to bring in a guy like Coby White? He's a young guy. He's got more time on his contract. He's not a Marvin Bagley.
He's not a Marvin Bagley. Yeah, so if anybody hasn't seen the Bulls play this year, you think the Kings play small. The Bulls actually play even smaller than the Kings do. Sure, Vucevic is their starting center, and he gets a ton of minutes, but when he comes out of the game, they don't go with another big man. They play really small, and they've been really good defensively so far this year, I think, as a result of that. So it makes sense to me that they would maybe want to bring in a bigger guy who can help stretch the floor for them, and more offense too, because they've been really good defensively, but they really haven't scored a ton of points so far this year. They've been right above the 100-point mark pretty much every game. So it certainly makes sense to me from a Chicago standpoint. In terms of what you get in return, I don't like the deal for Coby White. I think he's a good player. But this team is way too loaded at guard already, and I just wouldn't like that move. It's already going to throw the rotation off. It's going to take minutes away from Davion Mitchell, who's a much better defender than Coby White is. So I don't like that move. If there was somebody that I'd like to get in return, I'd actually be looking at a guy like Javonte Green, who is a bit of an underrated guy to me. I love his energy. Defensively, he is a beast. He's only about 6'5", but he can guard 1 through 4 pretty easily and does regularly right now for the Chicago Bulls. He's a huge, huge energy guy off the bench, and I'm really high on him. So that's one guy in particular that I would definitely like to see.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a potential 3-team trade would be the only way that something like this would work out. I know the Sixers are looking for a point guard. And the Kings like a guy that they have on their team, so maybe they could work out some kind of Ben Simmons trade. I don't know how you all are still feeling about Ben Simmons. You know, I think that he could bring something to this team if they didn't have to give up a lot, if they were right in the right position, if the right deal was there. Yeah. But I'm not going to say Ben Simmons needs to come to Sacramento or no, I don't want Ben Simmons at all. It really depends on the situation for me personally. All right, so still on